Today we begin our Sunday journey through ordinary time. Ordinary time, of course, is the longest liturgical season in our calendar and our liturgical year. And it has two periods. This shorter period that we're entering into now, which will stop, right? Will end at once we come into Ash Wednesday, which is not that far from us. And then the longer period of ordinary time, which extends for months, will begin right after Pentecost at the end of the Easter season, and it's going to take us all the way to the beginning of Advent, to the start of a new Advent season. And during ordinary time, as I alluded to at the introduction to the Mass, ordinary time, the focus is on how the extraordinary presence and life of God is there, is alive in the midst of our everyday, ordinary, or seemingly ordinary lives. And of course, what we're called to do during ordinary time is to try to discover that extraordinary presence of God around us, within us, in the midst of these seemingly ordinary happenings and activities and routines. Of course, to the degree that we discover that extraordinary presence in life, we really begin to realize that our lives are not that ordinary after all. And to launch us on this journey through ordinary time, we get in this gospel today, we get the fundamental question the Lord asks of us as we go through life. It's what he asks of those two disciples of John the Baptist who seek him out. Notice what he says to them. By the way, they are the first words that Jesus speaks in the Gospel of John. And they are, "What are you looking for?" What are you looking for? It's a loaded question. And you notice, of course, those guys, they're curious about Jesus, and they say to him, "We want to see where you're staying." And notice his reply to them. It's fascinating. He doesn't tell them where he's staying. He says, "Come and you'll see." In other words, enter into the mystery. Enjoy the mystery. And this is such a great way for us to begin ordinary time, a new calendar year, all of that. To ask ourselves this question: what are we looking for? What are we looking for? This is something that we should reflect on, not for a second or two, because I can tell you that if we try to answer that question in a second or two, or maybe a minute, more than likely our answer is not going to get to the heart of what it is we're truly looking for. Usually, if we answer that question very, very quickly, usually what we dial up is something that is a means to get us towards what we really are looking for. And maybe the means is correct. Maybe it'll get us there, or maybe it'll drive us away from there. I'll give you an example. You might say, "What are you looking for?" You might answer, you might dial it up, "Money. I need the money right now." Well, what is the money going to do for you? Well, probably, if you're answering as such, you're probably thinking the money is going to get me, it's going to bring me security, it's going to bring me fulfillment, it's going to help me sleep better at night, it's going to bring me peace. Well, if you get the money, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But what you're really looking for deep down is peace. It's fulfillment. And by the way, and that is the answer to that question. And it's everybody's answer to that question. That is what every single human being is deeply yearning for. And as we bring that to Jesus, and of course it's a rhetorical question because he knows deep down what it is we're looking for, Jesus is communicating to us that in order to find that, all we have to do is come and see. All we have to do, whatever it is we're looking for, all we have to do is to follow him in faith. He's not going to tell us where it is he is exactly leading us to, but he's calling us to enter into that mystery of following him. And this is the key. This is the key. Listen to me. Listen to me. The key is to enjoy the mystery. You know, this week, listen, amongst a bunch of other stuff that I did this week, we had school confessions, okay? You listen to confessions of kids, you know, we had 5th, 6th grade, okay? What do you get? What do you get, typically, generally? I lied, you know, I didn't listen to them, I disobeyed my parents. You might get, I hit my brother, I bit my sister, I kicked my other brother, whatever. Random acts of violence, right? I'll always ask the kids, you know, they say all that stuff. And I'll ask them, okay, listen, are you praying? Are you talking to God? Usually, you know, 9 times out of 10, they say, yeah. And I'm sure they are. They're saying their quote unquote prayers. Now I tell them that's good. It's good, that's very important. You have to talk to God. Otherwise you're not gonna know how to deal with life. I said, but, you know, as you keep growing, here's what you gotta do. It's not enough to just talk to God. You have to learn to enjoy God. You have to learn how to have fun with God. You have to learn how to play with him, because I can tell you quite often he's playing with us, we just don't realize it. And this element of enjoyment, this element of play, when you think about it, think about what you would deem the most cherished relationships you have in your life. Family, your best friends, they all contain that element. Healthy relationships are enjoyable ones for the most part. Healthy relationships have an element of fun. That's what draws us to one another. Healthy relationships have an element of play to them. Listen, your relationship with your spouse is going to be a lot more pleasant or tolerable, I may say, right? If there is an element of play that's involved in it from time to time. Your relationship with your kids, your bond with your kids, or perhaps with your very elderly parents, is going to be much more solid if there is an element of fun or play in it. You know, your work relationships are going to be better if you can tap into that dimension. This is what intimacy is all about. Deep down, this is what the Lord is calling us to enter into. As he says, come and see. There's a little bit of an element of his sense of humor. I'm not telling you, you know, come join the party. Come discover how fun this can be. As we begin our journey through ordinary time, as we begin this new year, may we not just try to follow the Lord or talk to the Lord, may we learn to all the more creatively enjoy him, play with him, have fun with him. And we're going to discover much more than we have in the past, that our ordinary life and whatever is happening therein is not so ordinary after all. My dear friends, let's stand.